what these crazy patches have done for my life personally. And we kind of started our health journey many, many moons ago, seriously, 30 plus years ago. And it's kind of hard to believe time flies this fast. But I have a PhD in counseling, and I branched out into, I guess, what you would call alternative healthcare modalities. I had pastored churches in a previous life, and I basically was dealing with sickness and disease all the time, Laura. I mean, you're going to the hospitals, the nursing homes, the prayer list, you're holding people's hands when they're going through tragedy, sickness, disease. And of course, at the time, I was 50 plus pounds overweight. I'd had a lot of what I call traditional health challenges, what I call from the sad American diet, lifestyle, allergies, colds, flus, 50 plus pounds overweight. I remember one Sunday morning, I'm a very active speaker. I jumped off the platform, ran down the aisle and back, and I was winded, and I was like, dang, I shouldn't be winded just from running down, a couple of pews and back. But anyway, that's how I got interested in health and nutrition for not only myself, but for other people. And we went back to school and started getting, certifications in health and nutrition and herbs and spices. And I mean, we just kept learning and learned from some great mentors over the years. And of course, we had always been interested in helping people overcome sickness and disease. We had seen people overcome cancer and heart attacks and strokes, dementia, Alzheimer's, just doing something simple as changing your lifestyle. But we know stem cells is where it's at, because after many, many years of studying health and nutrition, you realize the older you get, it is harder to recover. It's harder to heal because aging is a way of life, so to speak. And as we know, we teach people by the time you're 30, you're probably at 50% less stem cell production than you were when you were a teenager or a little kid, which is cool. When you're young, you can get cut and bruised. I used to race motorcycles and, have a good wreck on Sunday. And by Monday, I would be up and out and about, but by the time you get to be 30, things are just not recuperating as fast. And then I'll be 65 here very soon. By the time you're 60, the evidence seems to indicate that we're almost making no stem cell production in the body. And I was very interested in stem cell production because I've been studying longevity studies, blue zone studies. I wanted to know what people were doing to live to be, into their 80s, 90s, 100 and beyond.
And then here comes the patch.
And a friend of ours, Alicia Waters, had some of y'all know her story. She had the cancer, and she was just talking about to Jody one day. We had worked in a previous wellness project together along with Laura, and we had prayed and been in the trenches with this girl, just like we had, when Laura, we pray, we surround people, and we knew what she had been through, and she was telling us how she got the best report she had ever got. And the only thing she had changed was she started these crazy patches. And so it's obviously that got our attention. Jody was, you've interviewed her, but she had some carpal tunnel stuff issues going on. And she said, well, just give me a few patches. She tried them. She thought they were helping. So we just said, let's just give this thing a try. Let's jump in. So, at age almost 60, it was almost a year ago when we were introduced to this. Well, it was a year ago when we were introduced to the patches. So Jody started patching, got some results. And so then I just told her, let's just jump in and try it. Because over the years, I had developed some high blood pressure. And I noticed when you talk to people, you notice when people start to get into their 60s, blood pressure is something that can go up. But I mean, I confess my sins one to another. We had semi-retired, moved to the beach. And let's just face it, we semi-retired and we partied. We had a good time. We had business partners coming in, family partners, family members coming in, friends coming in. It was like we went on this 5-year vacation. And after about 5 years, it started to catch up with me, because even though I ate better than, 90% of the people out there exercised, my weight had went back up, and long story short, my numbers had gone up. And I told my doctor, I said, look, just give me 6 months and I'll get this all under control. Well, 6 months later, all my numbers were under control. My blood pressure came down a little bit, but it was still running high. And so I'm one of those people, I didn't want to do the traditional medication. So I was using my herbs and spices, and we were going and getting it checked. Everything was being monitored at that time. So we started the patches, X39. We had started with the 49 too, because 49 had just came out and it was being given, I think, last year as a bonus or something. It was, not even on the label, labeled and manufactured and ready to go, but there was some type of special going on. We were brand new. So we got the X49 too and the Eon. And 3 weeks, Jody and I both started seeing tremendous differences. Number one, the first week or so I used it, I felt a little strange. I used the word innervated because I knew something was going on inside my body. I wasn't feeling bad, but I could feel things kind of changing around, moving around, so to speak, on the cellular level. And I noticed, I was having more energy during the day. A lot of times around 1 or 2 o'clock, I would get that little, I could use a little siesta or a little bit of, just a 5-minute, reboot. Well, I was noticing I was much more alert. I was feeling more energy. And I'm like, geez, I went all afternoon and haven't felt that little, downturn that I did, which I thought was really cool. I thought, well, I'm getting better energy. And then Jody and I both noticed we were sleeping better. We were not big toss and turners, but, we would wake up a few times during the night, go back to sleep. And, but all of a sudden, I was sleeping longer through the night before I started waking up. And so Jody was sleeping better, and we thought, wow, something's going on here. And then Jody noticed my snoring had started to diminish, which was a wonderful thing. She's getting better sleep.
I think that's a wonderful thing for any couple. So anybody who's on here.
Yes, it is. It's huge.
Yeah,
and she was wearing those gloves to bed, and after a couple of weeks, she didn't have to wear the gloves. So the bedtime started getting better, because I wasn't snoring. She didn't have the mitts on. And so we're all of a sudden, Jody had been through menopause. Well, I noticed we started snuggling more like we used to before she went through menopause. I mean, when this girl went through menopause, the fans are on, the ceiling fans are on. Yeah, there's not a lot of snuggling going on at night when, she was going through all of that. Well, all of a sudden, we were noticing those big differences, in our sleep and our energy, which to us was huge as far as that goes. Well, then after about 3 weeks, I decided to check my blood pressure. And I thought, because I'm not the type person, it's like weighing. I don't believe in weighing every day or checking your blood pressure every day. If you have medical advice to do that, by all means, do what your doctor tells you to do. But, I was like, because things can fluctuate easily based on stress, based on a lot of factors that are going on. And during this time, we were going through some stressful times. We had, don't need to get into all the details, but it was a trying time, during the last few years before we found the patches. We had gone through some trying times, financially and some different things because of the wellness project we worked on previously. We walked away from a six-figure income, and that hurts when you walk away from a six-figure income and you're trying to figure things out. And so my blood pressure that day had dropped 30 points. 30 freaking
Wow,
points.
that's amazing.
And
Amazing.
I was like, oh my God, Jody, because I sent her, I took a picture of my BP machine and sent it to her, and it was pretty amazing. I'm like definitely sold at this point, when your blood pressure goes down that 30 points. And I did a post it's been just a couple of weeks ago that I posted it again, that my blood pressure was, down in the normal zone, which was really huge.